Good evening, everybody. All right, we can see what's kind of happening here in the markets. Not really selling off, but not going up. And our stochastics are starting to get into the overbought area. So that's going to be a good indication of you better get ready maybe for some more consolidation, more downside. The NASDAQ kind of giving us the same information. There was a little bullish harami yesterday, and then lower open today. Obviously starting to show some weakness up here. Might see a couple selling days taking you back down to the T-line. And let's see what else is going on. The crude oil prices have backed off a little bit, but you can see they've come up from the $42 range up to about the $51 area. Right on 51 right now. Oops. So also a setup for a possible bobble breakout, which would mean Roy, you might have to click on at the top of your screen. There's some arrows, little box, arrows pointing in and arrows pointing out. Click on one of those. We'll be looking at trading live cattle tomorrow. As you can see, a potential J-hook pattern. And you can see there's probably a trend channel going up through the tops here. There might be more upside. And I was short hogs today. Again, notice the failure. Whoops. The failure up here at the 50. Open here, closes here, opened below the open and went the opposite direction after hitting the 50. What respective chart pattern do we have setting up? Where's J-hook? Yes, let's see if I can get natural gas here. Big pop today. Look at your island reversal. So, could be some more upside. Bob, yes, we can do that. I will try to do, but the futures, yeah, unfortunately, the charts on futures look just the same as the charts on stocks, but we will do a futures night here very soon. I've written it down. Okay. Whoops. So gold is still holding up above the T-line, making getting a little bit soft here on Nugget. Notice how you have a bearish engulfing, and another bearish engulfing, stochastics rolling over. Just telling you there's some weakness coming into the gold stocks. Still keeping an eye, though, on the long side for KL. You got this kind of steady eddy in progress. If you got out here, you get back in here and just stay long as it stays above the T-line. And the Biotech Slabu came right back down to the 50. Now we have to see whether it's doing the typical, which is they come up through a resistance level, they back off to the resistance level to see if the resistance level is now going to act as support. So if you start seeing a J-hook from here, you know the biotechs are picking up some steam again. All right, some of the stocks that we're holding, PTLA, Not quite a shooting star, but you're in the overbought area. Your safety stop right now should be at today's open. Logic says if it comes back down through that level, they're selling off after the shooting star type signal. El Paso, we were buying because of the left-right combo, but then your best friend gap up, kind of scoop type pattern, it's just been moving nice and steady. I usually don't buy utilities only because I grew up was a stockbroker in the time frame that utilities, you bought them at $8.35, hoping that a year later they'd be selling at $9.10, plus paying you 8.4% interest during that time frame. So I just have a hard time trading. But what we have discovered, or what we should discover, is you don't trade based upon what you think things should do. You let the charts know or tell you what to do. Oh, SP, I'm sure we have shown you left-right combos many times. Left-right combo is a doji followed by a bullish engulfing signal. Left is a little jab. The right is the big roundhouse with lots of power telling you they've now heading in this direction. See, what were we on? We were on Yogi. Yogi saw the morning star signal followed by a doji sandwich, a positive open, came back and tested the T-line. You want to start buying this if they start trading this one positive tomorrow. Now, LSCC had a nice uptrend, except notice what it did today. It did a big doji shooting star type signal with stochastics in the overbought area. You definitely do not want to see it trade back below today's low. That would tell you that they're coming back to test the T-line and telling you they're having a hard time with the uptrend. Tiva held up pretty well, except it's now getting up here in the overbought area. Just be a little bit aware of maybe some profit taking starting, but right now there's really no sell signals in this one. Rare, another one that had the bullish flutter kicker. Oh, I haven't done that one yet. We'll get to that one. Bullish flutter kicker, and now kind of a double doji setup. I guess we'll go right to. So if this opens positive tomorrow, you want to be buying immediately. If you're trading options, this one, if it opens positive tomorrow, you want to start looking at calls right away, because that's your double doji, which also would be supporting off your 50-day moving average. I was going to show this one later, but kind of the same scenario on AMRN. If it opens positive tomorrow, you've got a double doji type setup. Not quite in the overbought area. So if it opens positive, it's pretty much telling you they consolidated back to the 50. Now, why consolidated versus versus a full scale reversal? Because we're not quite yet in the overbought area. And this is typical. When they go up through a resistance level, they'll come back and test it as support. So we definitely need to see this one open positive tomorrow. We had been owning MAG, but now notice what MAG is doing. This is why the color of the candles become very relevant. Notice your tweezer top. Looks like the high of today and yesterday, or Friday, were exactly the same. Doji, spinning top with a little bearish engulfing signal. So if this opens lower, you want to start taking profits. A double doji setup is, notice it came up, indecisive trading, indecisive trading. So what's indecisive trading tell you about the magnitude of the strength of your selling? Not very much. So if they can't sell it off, the bears run out of steam, the bulls see that it's staying strong, they start coming right back in again. So a double doji setup is like a doji sandwich, except you have two little dojis in here, and we'll get to some more of those. PGI, what's the relevant factor telling you the strength of this one? Double doji and overbought, good signal to go short? Not necessarily. That's why the doji, the ramifications of a doji is very instructive for us, because it tells us which way the price is going to move after the dojis. So notice this one hit right on the T-line and came back up again. So you've still got your doji sandwich. Still anticipate some more upside. And so the magnitude of the selling can be seen by the signals. Spinning top, doji, doji, makes this very simple. If this opens positive tomorrow, you can be buying immediately because it tells you the indecisive selling is over. The buyers are stepping back in. Okay, there they are. Clovis, Bearish Harami, a doji. Remember that bullish engulfing signal up here at the overbought condition? You start watching for some potential selling. Bearish Harami opens lower. Where do you think it was moving to? Probably back to the T-line. Kind of the same scenario on Bombach. How come I can't even remember? It begins with a T, one of our positions. Shaw. That's not what. Yes. I need to start taking that prevalent or whatever it is. Help your memory. PDD. That was it. So PDD, when we saw the Harami up here, if it opened lower, where do you think the first target was going to be? Back here to the 50s. So if you were trading aggressively, as soon as you saw this was opening lower, should have put a sell stop in or closed it out. All right, hang on to your individual stocks until we get to when I tell Jim to do the double line. Most of these we're probably going to eventually get to anyways. Let's see, did we do another Lavu? Keep an eye on Advanced Micro. There's your left-right combo, doji that bounced off the 200. Bullish engulfing at the 50 in the T-line. You can start buying this one on positive trading because of your J-hook pattern setup. Oh, that was actually a D. Okay, sorry about that. Now I can't even remember what it was. Oh, DG? Is it? Huh. No, not even. I'm just. Okay, some of the other biggies right now. PDD, okay. I can see I couldn't even remember in that length of time. NVIDIA working all right now. Tesla, having a hard time getting up through the 50. Would not be trading Tesla right now. Apple, kind of the weak sister. You can see the downtrend. Now you can see what happened. You had that little doji lower open right here at the T-line, pretty much telling you the probabilities of going higher were very small. Now the probabilities are if this starts trading weaker, you could be going back to the bottom of the trend channel. Amazon tried to hold its head up today, but came right back down to where it opened right here on the T-line. Now again, look at the nature of the selling. Once it hit a doji up here, a doji, kind of a spinning top, a doji, makes it very simple to analyze. If they open it lower tomorrow, you probably want to start getting out of the trade. If it opens positive, look for the next move to be back up to the 200. Why is that? Because the selling isn't very convincing. And once the bulls see that it's not very convincing selling, they start stepping back in. Okay, I think we've got them all. Oh, kind of putting Roku in the category. This one was starting out nicely today with a bullish engulfing. Watch for a J-hook pattern. Oh, Steve trades. That's a question you should ask Martin in the options room. Okay. Here are some that were working well today. USAP. Is this still a good buy? You're in the overbought area. What are the things that are showing you strength? First of all, your fry pan bottom. And then secondly, right about at the breakout level, you had a trend kicker signal telling you there's probably a lot more upside to this one. INSG. Look at the fry pan bottom. And again, notice the pullback on this one. Doji, bullish confirmation. This is still a viable buy. Oh, Martin. This Martin, he trades Amazon quite a bit. No, wouldn't worry on USAT about the long. Let me finish this one. If this opens positive, what do you got going on? A fry pan bottom, a pullback indecisively, now wave 3 of your J-hook pattern. USAT, what type of signal is this right here? Anybody? Yeah, this is a trend kicker. But is this any sell signal? Not really. Just a up day where it closed a little bit below halfway. So, no, it's not a shooting star. Remember, a shooting star has to have a tail that's 2 times greater than the body. You are far away from the T-line, but remember, you should be analyzing what your pattern is, fry pan bottom. You should be analyzing what type of signal broke you out of the fry pan bottom, a trend kicker signal. And then if you go right back to the very beginning, notice what started the uptrend of this one. Here's your kicker signal. So, you're probably not too far away from the T-line in the sense that this is a nice breakout. So, you play the stock or play the signals. What about overbought area? Remember where a pattern usually is going to break out. A pattern usually breaks out when your stochastics are already up in the overbought area. This is what we call a trend kicker, yes. This is a trend reversal, or a kicker reversal. So there's your downtrend, starts your uptrend. There's your trend kicker, your trend kicker, because you're already in a trend, pulls back, and then kicks back up, tells you there's going to be a lot more upside. So you got 3 kicker signals. The reversal kicker signal, the trend kicker signal, and that wasn't it. have a bullish flutter kicker signal, and I can't find it. Fine, howdy do. Is there a vertical bar at the top left of the chart? What information does that? There is a vertical bar at the top left of the chart. Oh, this right here? I think that's just the box. Is that what you were looking at? Yeah, that's just the box with the figures. Okay. So, what do you do with this one? You got in a fry pan bottom. You just broke through the 50. If this opens positive, what do you got going on? You got a bullish flutter kicker telling you they're breaking out. So if this opens positive tomorrow, the probabilities are they're taking this up higher. That becomes one, just like we did over on ARMN, where we were buying calls right here because we had a bullish engulfing through the T-line, a setup for a doji sandwich. As soon as it opened positive, we're buying because we know what the results should be after that bullish for a doji sandwich setup. So it just kind of puts you in the right place at the right time. I have a reason for this one. And I don't know what it was. Oh, yes, I do. Oh, this is what. This is one of the trading platforms that when you see the buy signal right here on the 50, get ready for the next move to the upside. Because what did this information visually tell us about the 50? This is where everybody was buying, or where everybody was making their decisions to buy. So here's GELD, G-E-L-D. Notice the setup it's doing. There's kind of your bobble pattern. So if this is wave one, which looks like to be about $3, this puts you almost up into this area, which kind of coincides with the peak right over here. I'm surprised the EPIX is a flutter kicker. No, it should be a doji sandwich. Did I say the wrong thing? Yeah, this a bullish. This should be a bullish doji sandwich. Let's see, we did MAG. MAG I wanted to show again as an illustration of we can see when things are starting to get weak when we're in the overbought area, giving us a little bit more of alert to when to start taking profits. So if we know we're doing dojis in the overbought area and we're starting to see red candles versus the green candles, that's pretty much telling you that the bears are starting to take control. Just gives you that much more visual confirmation that it might be starting to get weak and it's time to start taking profits. We also can use the candles to tell us what pattern should be setting up. Home looked like it was a nice little left-right combo, but if it opened positive, we knew the first pop would probably be to the 50. If it broke out through there, this is our next target, which would be a wave one, wave two, wave three. So this is why a lot of people say, well, why wouldn't you start buying here with the anticipation? Because you never know when it's going to open the wrong way and go the wrong way the next day. I would rather pay a little bit more for this, knowing that my probabilities are tremendously better that it's moving in the direction I expect it to be moving. Gold stocks, again, SA looks like a J-hook pattern setting up. Etsy. also looks like it's got the potential of a J-hook pattern setting up. So look at all the evidence of the bulls taking control. There's your Morningstar signal. There's your best friend signal. There's your pullback. Now start watching that if this is wave 1, wave 3 should take you up past this level. Domo. If it opens positive, what do we got going on? The potential of a doji sandwich with the same magnitude day like this tells us they're breaking out into wave 3 or further into wave 3. So it becomes a good viable entry knowing what the pattern is and what the individual daily signals are telling you at the breakout level. So again, well, let's see, why do I have AM? AMRN also is up here in the breakout level. And what was the other one that we were looking at? EIX. All set up for potential good timing of entries. All right, so we had everybody watching this one today. Look at your fry pan bottom. So here is the expectation of what should happen when you come out of a fry pan bottom. A big price move. Now that doesn't necessarily mean in one day. It might be like this. But it puts you in situations where if we can see the pattern and it closed here, and let's say we happen to see it open up here, a lot of people say, oh, shoot, it's up 100%. I'm not going to chase after a stock that's up 100%. All this does is tell us that it's confirming the pattern breakout. That then you can flip to your 10-minute chart from that point, and we can do that. Where this started. Apparently right here. So if I'm looking at this, say, man, this just jumped up over 100%. Do I want to be buying? Well, they're still buying. No, they're still buying. I can be buying in here. So what's my strategy at that point? Well, as long as it stays above the T line, I'm all right. Now up here, it might have gotten a little bit queasy. With it closing below the T line, if I took profits, I can be buying right back here knowing they aren't selling it off, they're bringing it right back up. So that's, again, just kind of the visual conclusion you can make based upon a situation where most of the time, in the old days, I'd sit here and say, I'm not going to chase after this. I'm not going to chase after this. I'm not going to chase after this. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, if I just bought, if I just had enough courage to buy, well, now I've got added confidence in the fact that I can see what type of pattern was setting up before it gapped up. How soon after the open do you enter a trade if it's in the direction you're expecting? If the market is opening positive and not kind of changing any major direction, it might be within the first 90 seconds. If the market is opening lower and the stock that I'm looking at buying, I might give it 3, 5, 7 minutes, 10 minutes. Now, if the stock's opening higher and the market's opening much lower, I'm going to sit and watch to see what it does. So, this one was setting up. You might not have noticed it. I don't know what Microbot Medical is. You may not be paying attention to this. But let's say you're paying attention to the weed stocks. And you were able to identify that they're starting to buy the weed stocks. Let's say you didn't get in here, or in here, or in here, and they gap it up or trade up today at least you know, number one, that they're buying the wheat stocks by, probably 4 of them right off the bat. That doesn't mean anything. All that meant was people that were up big at the end of the day were taking some profits. What did that tell you about the daily pattern? Is this any sell signal right here? No, this is a big candle up day with a little bit of a wick to the upside. So if we can pretty much go through all the wheat stocks, and they've all got good patterns to them, that pretty much tells us an important factor, that the wheat stocks are being bought across the board. So we're buying stocks in an industry or a sector that everybody else is buying all of them. So it's not like we've picked out a fluke. We're buying. So that's kind of the concept of putting all your stars in alignment. If the market is holding up, if the sector you're looking at has a bunch of stocks acting strong, now we just go to the stock or the charts that look the best and buy those. Notice how Crone bounced off the 50, kind of did a cradle pattern. But now where are we? Right up here about where the topped out before, in the overbought area. So if you're long Crone, what do you do tomorrow? Well, if it opens lower, that means they probably failed up here and they're pulling back to the T-line. If it opens positive, it tells you this is not acting as resistance. You've got the potential of a doji sandwich breakout. So TLRY, was this an accident that it was heading up? No, look at the fry pan bottom. Then Friday, look at your best friend signal. There's further buying. What do you expect from this one? Further buying because of this signal right here. So this isn't rocket science. This is basically putting common sense analysis in place to say if the market's not selling off hard and we can see there's a sector that's being bought, now let's go see which charts look the best in that sector. I have MG calls up. Oh, okay. Yeah, so look at what this one it does. There's kind of your cradle pattern. And how did you know to start looking for buy signals here? Look how they gapped down in the oversold area. Then you had a hammer. Then you had a doji. Then you had a best friend. If you're buying on this day, you needed to see bullish trading on this day. So again, this is not rocket science. This is saying, all right, where are my buy signals occurring? And are they still in place above the T-line? Would you close TRLY if it closes below the T-line tomorrow? Probably. That would tell you there's lots of weakness there that it's not going anywhere. But notice that your stochastics are still heading up. And notice your best friend signal. So you've got two things that are in your favor, that it's going higher. The best friend signal, and you're not in the overbought area. So coming out of this kind of rounding bottom, look at all the dojis down here. I told you there was lots of indecision. Then they told you with great enthusiasm what their new decision was. Okay, so that's kind of puts you in the, put some of your funds in a sector. All right, 200%, okay. Yeah, if you've got a big volume day with a signal, yeah, that's more compelling. So there's boot. Fry pan bottom, little J-hook pattern, best friend. What do you think your next likely target is going to be? At least to the 200-day moving average. RDC. There's your best friend. What's this pattern setup? Again, notice what's happened here. Indecisive pullback, this touches the T-line, gaps up. What do you think you've got going on? There's your J-hook pattern. Now, is wave 3 equivalent to coming up here? No, it looks like that's a lot shorter to get there. So where's wave 3 equivalent to? Right up about here, fill in that gap. So at least you now have a prospective target, and you can calculate, do I want to be buying here at around 11.25, 11.30 with the prospect of it going to 13.40, $2 on 11.30? Yeah, that's still a good 17% upside. So, let's see, did we do Domo? We did Domo. Oh, Domo. Yeah, Domo was up. So if we can see a sector, right now you can see the auto parts are starting to move up nicely with nice patterns. That's THO. This is CPS. Look at your little trend kicker signal up through the 50, probably implying there's going to be more upside. And Cray. There's your belt hold, bullish engulfing. What did this just tell you? Bulls and bears, bulls and bears, bulls and bears, bulls and bears. Wiped out a lot of sellers. Now look for some good strong upside. All right, now, again, with the market getting a little bit dicey up here, if I've got 10 positions on, I definitely don't want to have 10 longs. I start looking for viable short positions. T2, Doji, gap down through the T-line. Where's the next likely target? Probably back down into this area. Dillard's, Doji, right here at the 50, gap down. Followed by another attempt to hit the 50, and now they sell it off and close below the T-line. Where do you think the next likely target is going to be? Well, if this is your downtrending channel, down in this area someplace. ABBV. Kind of junky, but kind of look at your little bearish kicker signal, trend kicker. That probably implies there's going to be more downside. IQ. Notice the bearish Harami right here at the 50, and they gap it down. This one you definitely can be shorting on weakness. Where do you think the next likely target's going to be? Back to the bottom of this channel. Wayfair. Failing here at the 50. Another one that could come back down into this area. PBYI. Bearish engulfing right at the 50. If this opens lower, you definitely want to be shorting this. And DLPH, one of the other parts that isn't working, look at your left-right combo. Right smack dab at the 50, a lower open, and a close just below the T-line. If this opens lower, which direction do you think it's heading? To the bottom of the trend channel, making it a significant short. And Watt, there's your Doji, there's your confirmation. Where's this one? You definitely want, if you were long, you were definitely out of this one. And now you've got the prospect of coming back down and filling this gap. So right now with these market conditions, we don't know whether they're going to back off from here or whether they're going to take it up. So anytime you do your scanning at night, when you don't know which way the market might be going, it's always good to have a supply of long positions in case the markets open positive tomorrow and start trading positive. Or if they open lower and start heading down, you want to have few short positions that you can look at and say, oh, I might start adding some of these. SMTX, yeah, had a shooting star doji. Just the fact that they did a doji makes for a very relevant factor. It's probably going to move in the direction of how they open it after the doji. If they open this positive, what do you got going on? Your fry pan bottom, J-hook pattern. If they open it lower, what's happening up here? Kind of a double top. Get ready for it to pull back to the T-line area. Okay, that's about all I got tonight. Right now, there's lots of good entry strategies. Double doji setups, rare is one. AMRN is another one. EBIX is a good doji sandwich prospect, breaking out to the upside. So essentially what that means is your entry, you can have ultimate entry strategies where you know what to do exactly on a positive open tomorrow. You want to be buying immediately. You don't have to wait for it to start moving up excessively before getting in. And you also know that if you're in the overbought area, you've had a doji and it opens positive, where do you not want to see it trade? Definitely don't want to see it trade back below the doji, because that would tell you, the bulls aren't there. Get out of the trade right away. Now, that'll also be a function of if it opens positive and you see the pre-market futures on the Dow are showing it's going to open up down 140 points, and it opens and starts drifting off, first of all, you don't want to get in it. Or if you do get in it and it starts drifting off, you know to get right back out of it if it's not showing strength after the doji. Okay, so with that, I think Abe was trying to find the link. He still hasn't come up with it. We'll make sure everybody has it in the members area before the end of the day tomorrow. Okay, so with that, is there any general questions on candlesticks? Do we pay much attention to the pattern signals futures charts like the Dow, S&P Minute? Well, you can if you're, the pre-market futures. Right now it's showing, I'm seeing that the pre-market futures right now are up 144 points on the Dow, and it looks like the NASDAQ is trading higher, and the SPY is trading higher. So it looks like if things stay the way they are, they're going to have a good positive open tomorrow. Yeah, and the patterns on the futures, whether you're looking at the YM for the Dow or the QQQs for the NASDAQ, yes, remember, it's the accumulative knowledge of everybody buying and selling during a specific time frame. So if the futures are starting to show investor sentiment moving in one direction or the other, that means that's where the markets are going to start moving to. Okay, Jim, go ahead and do the double line. And in 4.1 seconds, do the next double line. Let's see. Macy's, stay short. Look at your bearish kicker signal. And, speaking of which, everybody tells me I should have more information out on Facebook. Does anybody know how to market on Facebook or know somebody that knows how to market on Facebook? I could use the help. So Facebook stayed positive today. Again, it's had a change ever since they gapped up through the 50-day moving average. You stay long on Facebook. Schlumberger, you can see is starting to run into a little bit of weakness here at the 34. So if it opens lower tomorrow, you come out of the trade. So what you want to do is usually on any of the bugs on the screens, you can pretty much see whether crude oil is bullish or bearish. Now it's pulled back after a couple of days, but I would guess we're kind of looking at a bobble breakout setup. Let's see, we did IQ. IQ, you get ready to go short if this opens weaker. CU. You just stay long on this. Now, notice you had a gap up in the overbought condition. What's your safety stop at today's open? If it comes down through there, remember, this is kind of a little bit of a warning that things have gotten overbought too quickly. SYH, another one you have to make sure opens positive. If it opens lower, now you probably want to come out of it and wait for it to come back up above the 50, which again might be your bobble setup. Legacy, very simple. Use the T-line as your stop. If it opens positive tomorrow, you can definitely be buying the J-hook bobble breakout. Lab D obviously is going to do the opposite of Labu. So you got to watch to see what Labu does tomorrow. If Labu keeps selling off, expect at least a bounce back up to the T-line in Lab D. NBEV, you probably don't want to see it trade in this direction. So I'd use the halfway point of this candle, because logic would say if this is a nice breakout, it should be going in this direction. If it comes back down through the halfway point of this candle, now you're back into the trading range, which means it didn't break out. Shake Shack, stay long, but you got a doji in the overbought area. If it opened lower, I'd take off half the position. If it traded back below this level, I'd close out the other half position. Well, as far as the short, yeah, but you got to kind of figure that your short is only going to come back to either the T-line or the 50 and possibly do a J-hook. So it wouldn't be the best place unless you're just a day trade. Wouldn't be the best one to short. We went through about 8 or 10 shorts that had very strong signals to the downside. PG&E still getting clobbered, I guess, because of all the wires that seem to start fires around the nation. JP Morgan, you can be buying this one. There's a left-right combo. If it opens positive, you can pretty much think the 50 is your next prospect. And you have a J-hook pattern. So you can probably be trading this one on the long side, obviously with the with options. Alcoa, you just stay long as it stays above the T-line. ADNT needed to stay above the T-line, which it did. It opened, looks like it opened on the T-line and started trading positive from there. So it needs to open positive tomorrow. Dana Auto, stay long. Now remember, you just had a bullish engulfing signal in the overbought condition. Keep a safety stop at today's open. Way too far. Where is it? AVEO, dang it. AVEO. You should be out of this one. When you saw your hanging man in the overbought condition, it needed to open positive and trade positive. If it opened lower, told you the sellers were in control. McDermott, Medtronics. I wouldn't be long or short. There's not enough strength yet to tell you to go long, but there's enough buying down here to say you shouldn't be short. I wouldn't be in this one way or the other right now. Twitter, another one that has to open positive and trade positive to stay in it. Obviously came up through the resistance level, now trying to use the resistance level as support. So it definitely needs to open positive to tell you they did use it as support. MRIN had a good chart. You have a little left-right combo. You can see how it's supported. You could still be buying this one on, or be ready to buy this one on strength. Obviously, it needs to break through the congestion area, but the percent return, if it gets moving, obviously is going to be pretty big. Facebook, stay long. RCII is still, backed off in the final 15 minutes, or the final 10 minutes today, 20 minutes. So I don't know what happened there. So it has to open positive and trade positive to maintain the uptrend. Huntsman has to open positive to maintain the uptrend. If it opens lower, move in the direction of how they open it after a doji, close it out immediately. GNC, you're right at the resistance level in the overbought area. One of two things are going to happen. It goes through, you stay long, and then you use the 50 as your stop. If it opens lower, take your profits. It's going to set up a bobble pattern, a potential bobble pattern. ADI, this is why you set your stop at the previous day's open, because it shouldn't come back down through there. Right now, I wouldn't be long or short this stock. It should have stopped out today. That was ADI. And Hertz, right here at the 50, I'd put a safety stop if I was long at today's open. If it comes down through there, it's telling you that the indecisive trading today is not letting you up through the 50-day moving average. Square, I would have closed this one out on lower open today, and I'd be ready to buy it back if it comes up through the 200. But you can see you had a shooting star doji in the overbought area at the 200. It needed to open positive and trade positive. The fact that they opened it lower, I would have closed it out. Now I'd wait for the bobble breakout to the upside. Is this LC that you're looking for, Dennis, or live cattle? LC also needs to open positive. RCII, would you have exited when it tanked intraday on the 10-minute or stayed to the close? I stayed with it only because it only tanked in the last 20 minutes. I don't know if there was an announcement, but as long as it stays above the T line, you want to stay in it. Which means if it does open weaker tomorrow, you close it out. Lulu, you can be buying this one on positive trading because you've got the J-hook pattern. So if they open up positive, what does it tell you about the profit taking that occurred today? Told you the profit taking was over. The J-hook pattern was still in effect. ILMN, this one you should have been out of today. There was your Doji Harami, and they gapped it down and closed it below the T line. I wouldn't be long or short this one. Probably be more apt to go short on weakness. And Goldman, again, when the big financials are acting well, that means the market's going to act well. So you can be buying Goldman with the anticipation that the next wave could take you up to the 50. Netflix opened lower and did a Harami. I'd have a safety stop just below today's low. For this uptrend to continue, it has to open positive and trade positive. So you've got a very clear indication of what to look for. You had a Doji Harami, and we know it's going to move in the direction how they open after a Doji. So if they open it lower, close it out. The worst case scenario is they turn it around and bring it back up. You can always buy back in. But right now, the prospects, the probabilities are starting to go against you on the long side. Okay. So JP Morgan has earnings tomorrow. Here's another case where they opened it lower. Let me go to the 10-minute chart. Well, this case, it was up, it was up, it was up, and then the 10-minute chart started coming back down below the T-line. And you were that far away from the T-line, that's about where I would have started taking profits. And you saw this one, same thing. In the last 20 minutes of the day, they knocked it down big time. There's something out there that I missed for the close, apparently. Clovis we did. The bullish Harami, if it opened lower, where do you think it was heading to? Back to the T-line. Blue. Blue was a good-looking chart until the end of the day. It still can be bought on positive trading. But it was acting well until the end of the day also. Lost a bunch at that point. FedEx, just stay long. You put your safety stop below the T-line. Prego, just stay long, same scenario. Have your safety stop below the T-line. Trade Desk. This one needed to stay above the T-line, and as you can see, it opened right here on the T-line 50, hit the, use the 34 for support. You can still be buying this one on positive trading. That's a good bullish sign when they open it and immediately you start bringing it back up off the support levels. And Tandem, another hanging man doji. You had a shooting star, bullish engulfing. Doji, lower open. If you didn't close it out today, you better use today's low as your stop. If it trades down through that direction, they're bringing it back down to the T-line based upon it's going to move in the direction of how they open it after a doji. IMDZ. I would have closed this one out today. Nothing there. Apple, we did. Apple, now a good prospect more to the short side if it stays below the T-line. The Russell also might be consolidating back to the T-line 34 area. Twitter, notice how it's pulled back. Doji, doji, doji. It has to, choked it. It has to open positive, trade positive to stay in it tomorrow. And SFIX, stay long, but again, you've got a hanging man. Put your safety stop at today's low. All right. So right now, it looks like the pre-market futures are going to be opening the market. Now, remember, the pre-market futures at this time of night mean absolutely nothing. It's 10 minutes before the market opens is what we want to take a look at. But right now, it looks like the pre-market futures are up 132, and the Qs are up, and the S&P is up. So I don't know what happened after hours that put some bullish strength in. So, all right, everybody, have a good evening. We will see you bright and early in the chat room tomorrow. We'll see you then.